Stop waiting for life to hand you the breakthrough you think you deserve. It won't. Not until you learn the one skill that separates those who dream from those who do. Most people will spend their entire lives searching for the right opportunity, the right timing, the right sign. They scroll through success stories, watch motivational videos, and whisper to themselves, "One day," but one day never comes. Because they keep looking outward for what was always meant to be built inward. They think success comes from talent, or luck, or some magical connection. They chase every shortcut, the hack, the trend, the algorithm, hoping one of them will finally make it easy. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel confident. They wait to feel like it's time. But here's the truth. It's never time. And the single skill that will change your career forever is not confidence. It's not passion. It's not even intelligence. It's consistency. The unshakable discipline to show up, especially when it's boring, silent, and unseen. That's the skill no one teaches you in school. The ability to keep going when no one claps. To create when no one's watching. To persist when every part of you wants to quit. That's the difference between potential and proof. Between wishing and working. Between who you are and who you could become. Most people don't fail because they're not good enough. They fail because they can't stay long enough. They burn out on the road that would have led them somewhere extraordinary because it didn't move fast enough for their ego. They quit when it's quiet. But that's where greatness grows. In the quiet. In the hours no one sees. In the mornings you drag yourself out of bed while the world still sleeps. In the repetition that feels endless. You've been told that success is about doing more. But real mastery is about doing one thing over and over until it becomes who you are. Consistency isn't glamorous. It doesn't trend on social media. It doesn't come with instant applause. But it's the reason the greats are remembered. And the rest are forgotten. When you stop chasing intensity and start choosing consistency, everything changes. Because intensity burns hot and fast. But consistency, that's a slow fire that never goes out. Think about it. Every skill you've ever admired in someone, speaking, writing, leading, creating, wasn't built in bursts of motivation. It was built in quiet repetition, in failure, in patience, in showing up when the world offered no reward. That's the skill that changes everything. It's not sexy, but it's sacred. It's not loud, but it's powerful. It's the quiet muscle behind every success story you've ever heard. Because when you're consistent, you stop needing luck. You stop waiting for permission. You stop fearing failure. Because you've already made peace with the process. Consistency is freedom. Freedom from overthinking. Freedom from doubt. Freedom from waiting for motivation to arrive. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to start. Again and again and again. Until starting becomes your habit. Until effort becomes your default. Until success becomes inevitable. You want to change your career. Stop chasing inspiration. Build consistency. Wake up earlier than your excuses. Do the work when no one's watching. Don't let the results dictate your effort. Let your effort dictate your results. Because the people who win, they're not always the most talented. They're the ones who never stop showing up. So start small. Write one line. Record one video. Make one call. Learn one new thing today. Then, do it again tomorrow. That's how you build momentum. That's how you rewire your brain for greatness. Every repetition is a vote for the person you want to become. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you cast a new identity into reality. You're no longer just someone who tries. You're someone who does. And that changes everything. Because here's the secret nobody tells you. Consistency creates confidence. Not the other way around. The courage you're waiting for doesn't show up before the work. It's born through the work. So keep building. Keep showing up. Keep choosing progress over perfection. You don't need to move mountains today. Just 1 inch forward. Every day. That's how careers transform. That's how dreams become visible. That's how ordinary people become unstoppable. And when you look back months or years from now, you'll realize the skill that changed everything wasn't brilliance, or luck, or timing. It was the simple, unshakable decision to stay in the game, to outlast your doubts, to outwork your comfort, to outlive your excuses. That's the single skill that changes your career and your life. So when the world tells you to wait, don't. When your mind tells you to rest, ask yourself if it's earned. And when it feels like nothing's working, remember, the world doesn't reward the most inspired. It rewards the most consistent. Show up. Do the work. Repeat. That's the formula. That's the truth. That's how you unlock the single skill that will change your career forever. And maybe, just maybe, that's how you finally become everything you were meant to be. Because once you master consistency, everything else starts to bend in your favor. Opportunities appear where there used to be walls. People start noticing what you've quietly been building. Doors open. Not because you knocked once, but because you kept knocking long after everyone else gave up. The universe rewards endurance. It always has. The truth is, most people quit right before something incredible happens. They walk away 1 hour before the miracle. One post before the breakthrough. One call before the yes. They underestimate the compounding power of steady effort. Because growth doesn't announce itself. It hides in the invisible layers of every repeated action. Every time you practice, you get a little better, even if you can't feel it. Every time you persist, you move closer, even if you can't see it. Consistency is a silent architect. It builds the foundation while you're still doubting the design. And when that moment finally comes, when all the hours, all the effort, all the nights you stayed late finally align, it doesn't feel like luck. It feels like destiny. Because you earned it, inch by inch. That's why the best never rush. They trust the process. They respect the grind. They understand that the gap between who they are and who they want to be is filled with 1,000 small, invisible, disciplined days. And when you start to fall in love with that, with the process itself, you become unstoppable. You stop chasing results and start becoming the result. Because the world doesn't need more people who start things. It needs people who finish. People who keep their word long after the feeling that made them start has faded. People who work in silence until their success makes the noise. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be persistent. Show up messy. Show up tired. Show up uncertain. But show up. Because consistency isn't about being the best every day. It's about being there every day. That's how you win. That's how you rise. The truth is, consistency doesn't just change your career. It changes you. It reshapes your identity. You begin to see yourself differently. Not as someone who tries, but as someone who follows through. Someone who can be trusted with a dream. And when you trust yourself, the world starts trusting you too. So, let this be your reminder. Your future isn't waiting for motivation. It's waiting for consistency. Motivation fades. Discipline remains. Show up when it's hard. That's when it matters most. Keep building when no one notices. That's when you grow roots. Keep learning when it's uncomfortable. That's when you evolve. Keep going when it feels pointless. That's when it's working. Because every day you stay consistent, you're teaching the universe who you are. You're casting a vote for your future self. And one day, that identity, that person you're building, will step forward fully formed and unstoppable. So if you want to unlock the single skill that will change your career forever, forget the noise. Forget the hype. Forget the need for quick wins. Focus on the one thing no one can take from you: your ability to keep going. Because consistency turns ordinary into exceptional. It turns effort into mastery. And it turns time, that endless flow of invisible days, into your greatest ally. So start now, before you feel ready, before it makes sense, before anyone believes. Because one day, they'll look at you and call it talent. They'll call it luck. They'll call it timing. But you'll know the truth. You'll know it was consistency. That quiet, relentless force that built everything. And in that moment, when you finally arrive at the place you've been working toward, you'll realize something profound. It was never about unlocking the world. It was about unlocking you. Because that's what consistency really does. It transforms you from the inside out. It's not just about success. It's about identity. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you rewrite who you believe you are. You stop being someone who hopes and start being someone who acts. You stop saying, "I'll try," and start saying, "I do." That shift, that internal transformation, is the true reward. The money, the titles, the recognition, they all come later. But the real victory happens the moment you realize you no longer need them to validate you. Because your confidence no longer comes from outcomes. It comes from consistency. When you can trust yourself to show up no matter how you feel, you become dangerous in the best way possible. You become unshakable. Because there's nothing left to prove. You've already proven it to yourself. Every single day, you didn't quit. And that's the secret no one talks about. Consistency builds self-respect. And self-respect builds momentum. When you respect your own effort, you stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop looking for the easy path. You start walking the right one. There will be days when it hurts. Days when nothing moves. Days when your work feels invisible. Those are the days that define you. Because consistency isn't tested in excitement. It's tested in exhaustion. That's when you find out who you really are. When everything in you says, "Stop," and something deeper says, "Not yet." That voice, that small, steady whisper, is your future self calling you forward. The version of you who already made it, already broke through, already proved that it was possible. They're watching. They're waiting for you to catch up. And the only way to meet them is to keep showing up. So, keep showing up. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because your future is not built in the moments of glory. It's built in the moments of doubt. When you choose to continue anyway. It's built in the unseen, the uncelebrated, the ordinary. Every great story starts that way. Quietly. Patiently. Faithfully. Then one day, all the small things you did suddenly collide into something extraordinary. And people call it an overnight success. But you'll know better. You'll know it took hundreds of invisible days to make that one visible moment. And that's why this single skill, this art of showing up, changes not just your career, but your entire existence. Because it gives you control again. It gives you your power back. It reminds you that you were never waiting for permission. You were waiting for consistency. So don't chase motivation anymore. It's unreliable. It fades. But consistency, that's loyalty to your purpose. That's love in motion. That's faith expressed through action. When you learn to show up, tired, uncertain, imperfect, you become unstoppable. Because life stops being about when things will happen and starts being about how long you're willing to stay in the fight. And that's where everything shifts. Not in a single moment of magic, but in 1,000 quiet repetitions that shape your destiny. So if you take one thing from this, let it be this: you don't need to be the most talented. You don't need to be the most confident. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be consistent enough to outlast the noise. Because in the end, it's not the loudest who win. It's not the fastest. It's not even the smartest. It's the ones who stay. Stay committed. Stay patient. Stay consistent. And when the world finally sees what you've become, they'll call it genius. But you'll know it was just consistency. So keep showing up. Keep building. Keep becoming. Because the single skill that will change your career forever isn't about talent. It's about time. And what you choose to do with it every single day. Show up for your dream until your dream starts showing up for you. And when that moment finally arrives, when all those silent mornings, all those lonely nights, all those invisible efforts finally align, you'll feel something no achievement can ever give you. Peace. Not because it was easy, but because you stayed. You'll look back and realize the real transformation wasn't what you built on the outside. It was what you built within yourself. The patience, the endurance, the trust. Those are the unseen victories that shape everything you touch. Because the truth is, success doesn't happen all at once. It happens one promise kept, one task completed, one day at a time. It's not a finish line. It's a rhythm, a pulse that grows stronger the longer you stay in motion. You'll start to notice something beautiful. The resistance that once stopped you begins to fade. What once felt heavy begins to feel natural. What once took all your effort becomes second nature. That's the magic of consistency. It turns effort into ease. And when you reach that point, when consistency becomes identity, you'll never fear starting again. Because now, you know how to keep going. Most people don't lose because they fail. They lose because they stop. But you'll keep going. Because you've learned the real skill that changes everything. When others chase intensity, you'll chase rhythm. When others seek motivation, you'll rely on mastery. When others stop at doubt, you'll keep walking through it. You won't need applause anymore. You'll have proof. Proof in your habits. Proof in your growth. proof in your peace. Because consistency teaches you that you can count on yourself. And once you can count on yourself, you become unstoppable. Not because you never fall, but because you always rise. And here's the irony. When you stop chasing big breakthroughs and start honoring small steps, the breakthroughs find you. They always do. Because consistency is magnetic. It attracts the right people, the right moments, the right opportunities. It tells the world, I'm here. I'm serious. I'm not going anywhere. And the world listens. So maybe this is the real lesson. The skill that will change your career isn't something you discover. It's something you build, brick by brick, day by day, moment by moment. And when you finally stand on the foundation you've built, you'll understand what every great creator, leader, and visionary already knows. Success isn't something you chase. It's something you become. You become it through your habits, through your hours, through your relentless decision to keep going when it's hard. That's the skill. That's the key. That's the truth. So tomorrow, when you wake up and feel tired, when your goals seem far, when no one's clapping, remember this moment. Remember that the difference between who you are and who you want to be isn't luck. It's consistency. And every time you choose to show up, no matter how small it seems, you're unlocking that skill. You're rewriting your story. You're stepping into your power. So keep going. Keep showing up. Keep proving to yourself that you can. Because one day, not far from now, you'll look back at the person who almost quit. And you'll whisper, "Thank you for staying." That's the moment you'll know. You unlocked the single skill that changed everything.